You dumb, beautiful fucker.
Who wants to be in America's slash fic with Abraham Lincoln?
Louisiana Purchase, that's a name.
You need to really get off my balls, okay? I'm gonna kick your ass.
Also, why was Michelangelo so stinky? Ew.
Hello everyone, welcome to Non-Canon Files number 30. I'll be your host today, Patrick, and joining me today are my three continental co-hosts.
Bye. It's Jonathan.
My name is Colt.
My name's Wenzel.
And today will be the very first of our seasonal anime reviews. We're talking about the winter lineup for anime this year. And we have 6 series we'll be discussing for you today. And we can just hop right into it. And the first series we're talking about today is Jobless, Reincarnation, a.k.a. Mushoku Tensei. This premiered Monday, January 11th. It's currently streaming on Funimation and Hulu. And Jobless Reincarnation was originally a web novel that ran from 2012-2015 before transferring into a light novel and until ultimately an anime. And now, a manga and then an anime. And it follows the life of a man who lived as a shut-in for years, and then after missing his parents' funeral, he was thrown out into the streets by his siblings. And then after being sort of lost and not knowing what to do with himself, he finally has a moment of clarity, which is soon after followed by saving 2 teenagers from being hit by a truck. And in the moment of his death, he is reincarnated as a child in a fantasy world with a new name, Rudeus Grey Rat. And this series follows his sort of growing up in a new magical world and determined not to squander his newfound second life.
Welcome back, Isekai. It feels like you never left, you know? It's another Isekai. You know what you're going to get into, a little bit, at least. When I first saw this, I saw the description that it wasn't Isekai. I was thinking, I'm so tired of these things, but this is going to be the new norm for at least another 5 years. We're going to have at least one every season. But I was genuinely surprised by how much I enjoyed this anime, the first episode. It's like, it's kind of generic story-wise, but the animation is pretty damn good.
I will say that like the animation is superlative. Like the sort of the overall setting, and like whenever the main character Rudeus gets into like his study of magic, like especially when he learns it with magic, starting with water manipulation, and how they do that. I thought that was just beautiful. And like I think the way they set up the magic in the world, that sounds kind of interesting. We will say it's a very expository first episode. Like there's not a lot in the way of like big action. It's just sort of the main character as a young boy with his like adult mind sort of like narrating a lot of like internal dialogue. But with just on sort of the isekai track, going back a bit, this series when it came out in 2012 was one of the first to like really draw attention to the whole isekai vein of like being reincarnated in another world. Like it was with this series that sort of started the isekai trope of, you know, the reincarnation starting after being killed by a truck hitting you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it came from. So there's a lot in the show that may feel a little generic, but that's sort of like, it's kind of like one of the early pillars of the genre, or I guess the modern notion of the genre. Because like isekai as a concept has existed for a long time. It's just what with this sort of modern, like this more recent influx in the last few years, a lot of it kind of can be traced back to this, among other series.
Yeah, it's sort of like getting mad at The Matrix for all the action movies after it that ripped it off.
Yeah.
So like, there's a lot that has a founding here, but as for the show itself, I was a little kind of unsure because like one the story, it does feel a little humdrum and sort of like and getting going. You know, a lot of shows they have kind of a slower beginning, and that's something you have to keep in mind. But But I like the one thing I will say I remember from it is just like its animation is superb. Like it's definitely like there's some of the best animation we've seen, and some of the worst we'll be discussing in this episode. But this is definitely on like a higher end of a lot of anime recently.
Yeah.
For sure. Like the animation is absolutely insane. We don't really see that much action this episode. Like when you think good animation, like, oh, it's probably got some cool fight scenes or something like that. No, just like the generic movement of these characters from scene to scene and just interacting with each other is pretty damn beautiful. It's got like a film grain texture on it as well, which I really like. It gives me like old anime movie filter vibes with that. And another thing, it's like we were talking about, is an isekai. One thing that's doing differently, for me at least, is that instead of going into this isekai world as your age, you're actually starting over fresh. And that's what I'm really, really liking. Because we saw it with Slime, and we saw it a little bit with another we're going to talk about in a second. But I think it's nice to see it from a human perspective.
Yeah. No, I was about to say that's what was completely different for me, at least, was that this guy is starting over as a child, like as a baby, straight up, starting completely over. Like that's a tough story to deal with because you're literally having to relive your life. But it's just also weird because he still has his adult mind.
Oh yeah, he's still a pervert old man, but it's weirdly fun because like he's saying, "I want to change as a human. This is my second try at life, so I gotta do this right."
Yeah, I did not really care for his description of the mage who becomes his mage tutor, his magic tutor.
That was a really dodgy moment for me in the show. Like
we got to see underage girl panty shot. Japan, why the fuck you weird?
It was also just kind of funny too, because we got to talk about it. But like, I don't know, it was just weird because like he's starting over as a child, and of course he has to talk about how he wants to suck titties, his mother's.
Oh my god, just the like he is like one sentence away from saying big mommy milkers honk gonga donga bakas.
But the thing, I will give him that, he said he wasn't turned on, and he said, is it because she's my mother? Let's hope so.
Let's hope. But granted, I think the mom is preoccupied with the dad because man,
Yeah.
they fuck.
Okay.
They're just, like loudly fucking.
Just like,
Oh my god. Okay, that was crazy. That like when
That's
he
the
said,
first
he
time I've ever experienced that in an anime.
said, same.
Well,
Exactly.
I mean, it's an Evangelion.
Oh,
I mean, like I don't know who's getting dicked down like that in Evangelion.
yeah. I
mean,
was like, because I was about to say,
I mean, like, yeah, but we don't hear like fucking just like, oh, you're being too rough, and just like, I haven't begun yet, as he's just like, as like Papa's just pumping away on Mama in there.
she's just like, oh my god, I can't handle it. And it's like he's not even started yet, and the whole house is shaking. They have a maid and a child.
I'm just thinking
That
like
poor maid.
that maid, she's just like curled up in her bed. It's like the dust is like drifting down her head from just like the fucking epic sex apparently that the mom and dad just happen on the reg.
You know what?
And-
Good for them.
Good
I mean-
for them.
I
You know,
mean,
I mean,
Oh yeah,
really.
no judgment whatsoever. It just caught me off guard that they were just this show lets you know that they fuck.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because it's like it'll be like, okay, you see this, good-looking dad. He's a knight. He's honorable. The mom, she's caring. She's sweet. She used to be an adventurer mage, and then they just go right into pounding.
Clapping them cheeks.
I mean, hey, good people have good sex, I guess.
I mean, no, like it just. I don't like. There's nothing wrong with it. It just really caught me off guard. Like I don't know.
Because like you have like it's interspace with this like grown man's brain and the little kid's body as he's figuring out his new body, this new magical world, and like these like nice little moments of them like, oh, the family's like, oh, this is our new baby, we're adjusting to him and having these little like cute family. I'll just like fucking.
Whole house shaking. Mom is screaming. Dad is thrusting.
I mean, he's just grunting.
Yeah, but there's not as much sex as we're making out to be. But
it's only
still
like 10 seconds.
It's still a swerve that you're not expecting.
But like that to me, that was the.
Gotta say it. The mom's hot.
He comes from very good stock for anime character wise.
But
okay, nobody else want to say that? Okay.
I mean, his parents are good looking. We'll give him that.
There we go.
yeah, for me, outside of the fact that the parents fuck, there wasn't a lot that I remember, and we just watched it last night.
I guess what was interesting too about the magic system was like there was like they have to use either incantations or circles, but like apparently, which is kind of cool, and I can't wait. He doesn't have to use incantations, which is like that's huge.
Yeah, that could be like world shattering.
Because like as you know, like I said, it's a kind of an interesting magic system they have set up, and you have like the different levels of magic, and just sort of like because the way it sounds like you can use magic without using an invocation, but like it takes more out of you. It's like basically the invocation sort of gives you like a more controlled version of that magic, and if you just like, I'm just gonna say this, like just shoot water out, it just like full pour shit, and like using the incantation kind of makes it more reined in on the caster and sort of the environment as well. Obviously, that's like some like really nerdy world building shit, but I thought it was neat.
Yeah,
yeah.
And for what the show has going forward, it's probably the sort of setting building.
Yeah.
Even though we haven't seen a lot of it, basically just this little house. But like you were saying, I think the magic system is really interesting, and I imagine like later on we'll start seeing more colorful cast of characters. But as of right now, I'm just like, all right, that was a show. Probably not going to follow it, but.
Are we going to get more?
Definitely wait to see, because I feel like that'd be one of the biggest caveats for this show. Check it out, if nothing else, just to see how pretty it looks, but also be aware it is a slower paced episode, so it may kick up as the show goes on. But the first episode is kind of at a tepid pace.
Well, and it's not that it's slow. I mean, there's a lot of media I like that is slow. It's just, I think you've said it best. It's really expository. And there's nothing wrong at sort of front-loading a lot of this information, because you need to get it. And I think the way they do it's pretty clever, because, like, you know, you basically have this ultimately fish out of water story as he's sort of having to learn how this magic system works. But it is a lot of information that gets thrown at you at once.
Yeah, but also, too, it's like he's starting out, like, as a child in another world. He has to learn a new language. He has to learn a new culture. Like, just everything's literally brand freaking new. And he still has the knowledge of his old world. So, like, that's going to be a huge just sensory overload. And I mean, he's starting over, so like that pacing and that expository kind of feel is like, it makes sense, because I mean, he's gonna have to learn a lot. But I mean, he's learning fast. I guess he's only like
I'd say about like 5, 6, maybe.
Because the first episode kind of jumps from like his literal infancy to about, you know, a little older than a toddler, still a very young child.
Mom's still hot.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like if anime parents really sort of age over time. It's sort of like,
you know, I wonder if we're gonna get more just smashing.
You know,
like he's off like fighting dragons or whatever, and it just cuts back to mom and dad. It's like, oh, you know, there's a lot of danger going on in the world. I hope mom and dad are okay.
Man,
it's like at this point, because their sex starts out so rough, they have to start experimenting with BDSM, and this time the tables are reversed, and she's fucking pegging him. Okay,
but the thing is too is that they're probably not using protection, so he's gonna get another sibling.
Oh, they have the one condom that's just passed down to the family line. It's made of sheep blood.
Yeah, I was about to say like a sheep bladder or something like that. They just have to rewash it every so often.
I don't know, man. He's raw dogging it. I bet. I bet he's raw dogging it.
Washing out the heirloom family comment puts new meaning to the term throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
All right, moving on.
I really liked it. I really enjoyed the first episode. I enjoyed the slower world building here instead of like, boom, he's got this power. Boom, he's got this super strong power now. I enjoy the gradual. You can tell he's more gifted than the average person, but it's a lot slower than
protagonist.
It's a lot slower than the typical isekai, where they just suddenly they're the gods of the realm or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to keeping up with this. I mean, even if the story isn't that great, just for the animation, it's so pretty that I want to watch more. I wanted to watch the second episode, but it's not out yet, so I couldn't.
I say I like it. I will hold on to see if I'm going to continue with it, but I did like it.
Yeah, me too. I honestly, I might continue with it because I kind of want to see where it goes.
Wenzel just wants to see them mommy milkers.
The supercut of the hot anime mom.
You just cut right through my facade, Jonathan, you son of a bitch. No, I'm like, I want to see, is there, like, how many episodes of it is it going to be him a kid? You know, is there going to be another time skip where he's older? You know, I want to see where it goes.
And moving along to our next series, which is also an isekai. So I'm a Spider, So What? Which premiered Friday, January 8th. It's streaming on Crunchyroll, and it's actually a Crunchyroll original animated series. So they footed the bill for this series.
Hell yeah.
And this, in the same way like Mushoku Tensei, it is also originally a web novel before becoming a light novel and now an anime. And this started in 2015 in its original format. With this show, a mysterious explosion destroys a school, killing everyone inside. But one occupant, a young woman, is reawakened in a fantasy setting, and she's reincarnated as a baby spider monster. And she must now navigate her environment and try to survive all the newfound challenges therein. What do we think of Spider?
Now to include something topical for the time frame that this is releasing. You could say this anime has a special casting. They got Armie Hammer to play one of the Spider Brothers.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's going to be a deep cut in about a month.
That's a good bit.
If you don't understand that, Google Armie Hammer. It's a ride.
Yeah, it's an interesting detail link about that. This is a series I picked out because I was just going through a big anime list, and I thought the spider looked really cute on the poster, and I want to say I remember seeing like the light novels or manga at Barnes & Noble or something, but I thought this was a pretty fun show. It does sort of the blending of traditional and CG anime, I think, fairly well, because the spider herself, she's CG, and certain elements in the like action are CG, but I feel like it's pretty solid and cohesive and meshes fairly well with the rest of the show. And the main character, she's not named at the moment, but like just for sort of reference, her name becomes Kimoko as the series goes on, and she's what makes, I don't know how many different isekai are out there in terms of like what level of awareness they have, but like she is aware of the concept of isekai and like being transported, just like that exists as a fiction in her world. So when she gets to the fantasy world, it's like, okay, I've been reincarnated. It's an isekai. So she starts pulling out like, she's playing to the tropes of the setting. So because she's like, okay, what are my points? So you have so many points. You can get this skill. Oh, let me get that so I can figure out what's going on in the world. Turns out to not do very much. Because she's trying to play the game, and it's not really working with her.
It was a good bit, too, because it was like, you have 100 skill points, and it's like, do you want to buy appraisal? It's worth 100. And she's like, yes, appraisal's amazing skill. And then it's like, what is this? It's like, a rock. What is this?
A rock.
it's just like a flat identification of what the thing is. There's not like any sort of lore or flavor text. It's just very exact.
Yeah. She even like appraises herself, and she's like, what am I? And it's like she's like a small lesser I can't remember the spider's exact name, but that's literally all it gives. It doesn't say anything else. But it's at level 1, so it can be leveled up. Yeah, no, she was playing right into it because like it says, there's this like some kind of monotone voice that just tells her the points, her skills, and everything, and it's like she's in an actual game, but her and her classmates actually died and got reincarnated. And I remember I heard about this from some person who was putting out a video of like manga, that people need to check out, and this was on there, and it sounded fun, it looked cute, and then watching the first episode, it made me watch the second one, and I really enjoyed it. I actually do want to continue with it. It looks like fun. I do know from what the person said, it's kind of slow because, again, it's another kind of isekai. She's reincarnated, and from what I understand, it's like it takes a bit before she like really builds up because it's her like from what I understand, it's going to be a lot of leveling up.
I know from what I remember reading up on the series before we did the show is that with the manga, the light novel, it's literally like over 100 chapters before she meets like a sentient character. So it's basically just like her talking aloud to herself as she's like running away and fighting like all these other bugs and monsters. So like they kind of break it up in the first episode because it implies that other characters in the show are her classmates that have also found their forms in this fantasy world. But at least with the original format, it's literally just her by herself, like fighting bugs and shit for a long time. So it seems to follow on that a little bit, but it seems like you have at least this B plot of like what maybe her classmates putting together their new lives as well.
Yeah.
And like honestly, I thought it was really fun, and like I kind of wish it was a game in itself, like an action RPG, because I would kind of like to play this little spider that kind of gets these new powers and abilities. Like when she fought the frog thing toward the end, I thought that was a pretty cool thing because like she gets burned by its poison, and she's like, but she managed to like level up and get skills over the course of her fight to like fight the frog. And like for someone who's played like Pikmin, like you play these little tiny characters fighting like these comparatively giant characters in a kind of small scale, big scale world. I really like that like setting trapping. To me, this is one of my favorites. It was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. For all the stuff y'all said, I don't have anything else to add. I will say when it cut to what may be the rest of her classmates, I kind of checked out. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Because one, the spider character is just so fun.
Yeah.
A really awesome, cute design. And it's really fun sort of seeing her how to figure out how it's like, I gotta eat. So do I cannibalize my brethren? I'm going to fucking try. This tastes like ass.
Like she literally like eats her dead spider brother and then like pukes immediately afterwards.
Yeah, but then it cuts to like the so-called rest of the people, and it's just this kind of very generic ballroom setting of just people talking about like fantasy politics shit. And then like everyone said I'm not a huge fan of isekai. It's played out. I'm not really big fan of the concept to begin with, but you want me to check out even further that the fucking anime little sister trope. You put that in anything, I'm just like, no, I'm done.
I was about to say because I had
the fucking had like little sister that's horny for her brother
or at the very least like overly attached.
Yeah, and it's just like.
The elf character was like, "Did you do anything naughty with your little sister?" And he's like, "No, like really, we have to throw this in there." But other than that, I will say the concept that they're going with, like above ground, is like that like these kids, they're like, all right, who are you really? And it's like they tell their names, and it's like, okay, so there's pretty much going to be the kind of like this small faction where it's like. They are from another world, and everybody else like is just kind of from this world, and I think that's going to be kind of fun to play with.
Yeah, and I will say for like as much as I didn't really enjoy that segment, and it's like what maybe 5 minutes. It's really brief, but I really love the character designs. I think they're really sharp, and I really like that the little I don't know what it is, but that little dog creature fox thing. I'm just like
the little dragon, the little doggy thingy.
Yeah, I'm just like I don't know what it is, but I love it.
those bits right there were pretty good because it was they introduced themselves and the one person was like, oh, you got reincarnated as a girl, like like you're so cute,
and then they're just like kind of fuming. They're like,
And the little dragon thing is talking to us like, yeah, well, blah, 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 don't make fun of her. It's like, you're a little dragon thing. You're even more cute and silly.
you're even more cute. Like, oh, that's great. I think that's a good bit, too. And the person who got turned into a girl, he's like, I've made my peace with it. I mean, you'd have to. So.
Unless you somehow find a way to escape. But overall, it's really funny. There's some good bits, like when she's trying to get the analytic thing to work. Like, she comes up to this big, just, like, cavern of monsters. Like, what's that? And all the things going off at once. Like, deer, monster, horse, weasel, bat.
and she's just like, stop.
It's a really fun one. I definitely think this comes with a high recommendation from us.
Yeah.
And moving on to another series that may not have quite the same clout. We're talking about X-Arm.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Just for reference, I happen to not watch this one. So I'm interested to see what y'all have to think because I remember what Colt said, and I'm excited.
Well,
Give me the tea, sweeties.
Let's get the little the basic info out of the way. X-Arm, it premiered Sunday, January 10th. It is streaming on Crunchyroll. It is also a Crunchyroll original animated series, and it starts out in the year 2020. A technological disaster has upended most of the world. A parallel story, in 2014, a meek young man named Akira who distrusts technology is killed by a passing truck. And in 2030, an organization is desperately trying to combat dangerous cyber criminals and unstable technology. And all three of these stories will merge as the series go forward. Now, if that sounds like a lot, because it is, and none of it's woven together very well. And this is what it is. It is a CG anime series. The whole thing's
No, Pat, it's not
Not the
all-
whole
it's,
thing.
or I would say it's mostly CG with random place of traditional animation, and it's just gonna say like it's the wonkiest CG I've seen in an animated series to date.
If I could compare the CG to something, I would have to say the PlayStation 1 FMVs, where it's already pre-recorded, put on the disc, and it's not actually gameplay, and it looks like absolute dog shit. It is I would say probably the ugliest anime I've ever seen. The way they try to mesh with all their being, the soulless creature with the traditional 2D flat animation is absolutely disgusting, and I would say offensive. It's so bad.
And for Jonathan, I just sent the trailer so you can at least see that.
Okay, I'm going to try to...
One positive from this anime is that the intro song is kind of catchy.
Yeah, I will say that
Yeah.
there were some bops throughout the series we watched, but yeah, like it's like everybody looks like they're moving through like molasses, like because like usually cause it has all these different things like, oh, this is our badass action piece, but everybody moves just so slow and so sluggishly, and like none of the models are capable of emoting or even really matching the speed of the dialogue. It's just like a fish mouth just bopping up and down.
And none of them can.
This is like Bible Man the animated series level of bad.
None of them can accurately bend their muscles or elbow or joints.
It's very stiff.
This is bad. Like I'm watching the trailer right now.
I honestly don't know who the fuck greenlit this at Crunchyroll. Someone had to be fired after this.
Well, because like before Pat sent the trailer, I was kind of like looking at like images, and I think it was just bringing up like the manga or whatever this is based on, and I'm like, okay, the character designs are pretty cool, things like that, and like it's like I'm liking some of the design, but then seeing it in action, I'm like, this ain't it, Chief. This is rough. Like I said, it's like Bible Man, like Ruby looks better than this.
Ruby.
That's what it immediately came to mind for me.
The outro has this really nice, huge like poster-looking art that looks so good.
Yeah, like the outro images is the best thing of the show.
And the center, they have like a weird mid-episode break that every anime has, but it's a very beautiful art piece that I don't know. I think that's where their budget went, is in those beautiful art pieces at the middle and the end.
Yeah, because I think that's what I saw when I like looked it up on Google Images. I'm like, okay, this actually looks kind of cool, kind of like a dollar store Ghost in the Shell type of thing.
I was just about to say that. It's like it's trying so hard to be Ghost in the Shell, but like its ambitions and its skill are just a gulf between.
Yeah, because like you were saying, like they can't fully extend their joints and ligaments. It's really stiff. That's fucking VeggieTales look better than that. Holy shit.
The main character, I kid you not, at first when the main character is introduced, I'm like, okay, maybe it's supposed to be that like androids are CG and regular characters are 2D. No, for some reason, because then it's real. It's because there's a 2D character, and then it turns out that that's his brother, and it's like, oh, so they're the same. So why the hell is he 2D and he's CG? And why do his eyes and why does he never blink? Why are his eyes like that? Why
his eyes are just stretched wide open, and his mouth is just like a marionette, just flop 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 flop, like. And it doesn't make sense why certain aspects are 2D and versus the 3D. Like there's literally a scene where there's 3 CG characters like talking, but then there's just one random that's traditional, and it makes no sense. I mean, like obviously, like the more important characters are 3D, but then just randomly that's a mix.
What happened to the budget? I need to know.
It's so bad. I'm so mad. I'm just so mad that this is a thing. And
I think they spent it all on PCP and crystal meth.
God,
Throw us those numbers. I need to know.
And plus, I feel a little bad because, like, obviously somebody still has to work on this show, and they're doing their best, and God bless them for it. But who's distributing the funds at Crunchyroll? Because obviously, Spider looked great. Why the hell does X-Arm look so bad?
I keep thinking because I was eating and there was the action scene where we have the android woman Alma fighting, and I was just like, this is like Resident Evil like stupid, but Resident Evil stupid was fun. This is just stupid. This looks shitty. This looks bad.
Yeah.
Like with the scene with I think it was like Chris and some random character having a gunfight, but they're shooting each other point blank range, running around in circles, firing at each other. That's funny as shit. Yeah, that's funny. This was so bad. I was bored, angry, and just wanting it to be over with.
Yeah, no, I was just eating, and I would see it, and then I would be just like I ate, and I watched it, and I was done.
That seems like the longest 22 minutes.
It is funny to think that like this whole time we haven't even barely touched the story because it makes no goddamn sense, and like it's just like it just pales in comparison with like how just fucking bonky the visuals are, because like it's the polar opposite of Jobless Reincarnation, where it's like it was a gorgeous look at. The story may not have been as engaging. I feel like the story could be neat, but like it's just you don't even focus on it. You just see like these like giant like gel filled like tubes of people just like bebopping around. Like it's so goddamn goofy. But plus it's one of the few animes I've seen on Crunchyroll with like but not only like a low score, but like probably one of the lowest scores. It has like a 1.5 star on Crunchyroll, which is like it's hard for anything to get lower than a 4 on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, I'm looking at on like my anime list, which is another place I usually go for like seeing what scores anime gets. And whenever we do this episode seasonally, this is where I get my anime. It's got 2.32 based on 5,000 users.
Jesus.
Like
this is like
good.
Handshakers bad.
Yeah, like
Y'all remember that shit?
this is throwing me back to like our worst anime episode. Like it's still better than like Mars of Destruction.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you don't hit the bottom of the barrel at that point. You are not in the same conversation as barrels when you get to Mars of Destruction.
Which is like a stratosphere to itself.
You say that, but I think they're in the same room, but like one desk is spreading them apart.
It's definitely one of the worst anime that we reviewed on our regular seasonal episode, and like there hasn't been many just straight up clunkers on our episodes, but like this is definitely one of them.
There's usually one every season that's just like,
just
kind of like a really just a hard, just average, and that's usually as bad as it gets.
Except like what was that one show that was really fucking bad? I think it was winter last year.
Oh, do you remember anything about it?
It was I just remember the end of it where the woman was like, "Let's make a baby."
Oh fuck! I don't know what it was called.
God.
Darwin's Game.
Like Darwin's
There
Game.
it is.
God, that was so fucking bad. Like, holy shit.
But Darwin's Game was watchable up until
Like the
weird
animation
ending.
was decent.
Yeah, because it was like fine until like the last 10 seconds. You're just like, fuck this.
This is just awful. You know, we need, I guess, you know, after having such a good so far seasons, I guess we needed one just to have this a total shit ball to kind of balance it out. Because man,
Yeah, it's definitely been a while that we had one that's just like this is unequivocally bad. Like I would recommend it just solely on just watch to see how bad it is.
Just a gawk at the audacity that someone was like, "Yeah, this was decent," and I feel bad because I'm sure someone put their heart and soul into it. And I don't mean to like shit on that person, but God,
you rest ye soul.
This is somebody's first anime. I'm gonna say that somebody's first try. You made an anime first try. Good job.
Dude, that's actually what I thought when I saw this. I was like, they made an anime.
Hey, you got to fail at something before you can succeed at it.
And hopefully, whoever they are, you know, they work on it and they get a little better.
Yes.
I hope the Crunchyroll gods don't come and kill them.
Because man, what a rough
They'd be pissed.
time.
All right.
I feel like they took all the budget from Spider and took all the budget from this and put it into the Spider show.
It's like we have 5 Crunchyrolls, and it's sort of like they're just like doling all the money out, and then like whatever they had left was just like stuff between the cushions. Like, oh, here you go, X-Arm. Put something together in like 3D paint.
Here's some pennies.
Well, I think we said all about what we can say on X-Arm. We'll track on to the next anime, which is Cells at Work Code Black. And this premiered Saturday, January 9th. It is currently streaming on Funimation. And this is one of the many spin-offs of the original Cells at Work series, which is about these anthropomorphized cells and sort of the exploration of their jobs inside the human body. Now, what makes this one different is that whereas in the original series it focused on sort of like general sort of like sicknesses and illnesses and things that happen in an ideal, like a standard human body, this more so shows the strain and the stress of the jobs that the cells have to go through in a very unhealthy body, born out of stress, bad habits like drinking, alcohol, smoking, unprotected, unsafe sex. So it's doing what the body struggles with when the person doesn't take care of themselves. It's like a really like an R-rated version of Osmosis Jones.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about the entire time watching this.
And if the Cells at Work sounds familiar, we covered the original series way back in our summer 2018 show. So if you want to check out the original series, go back and look at that one. Because I remember that would come with a fairly good recommendation back then. So what do we think of Cells at Work Code Black?
It was all right.
I feel pretty much the same way I did about the first season or the other series of Cells at Work. I thought it was okay. It didn't necessarily grab me and say, "You want to keep watching me, right?" It was good animation. I like the art style a good bit. I like the way it has like a grittiness to everything. I guess I don't remember that being in the original, but it could be because they're in a middle-aged man's body. Maybe different, but I enjoyed the fact that it showed the stuff from when the human they're inside was younger. It showed it like it was the 80s to 90s, to like, oh, we're booming, we're doing great, we're living it up. And then once they go out into the real world of the body, they're like, oh shit, this is all falling apart. We're all struggling to get through this. I thought that was really neat, but it was okay.
Yeah, it's one of these things where I'm like it's a neat premise, but I don't see how much you can get out of it, honestly. Like, in the sense of, like, I don't know how they were able to manage doing, what is it, 2 series?
No, this is just 2 of the mini series, because there's a cells that work for babies. There's a cells that work for women. There's like a more like comedic version. There's like cells that work for like lazy people. Like, it has a very big franchise that spun off from it.
And I mean, and I guess you could just sort of explore all those different scenarios, I guess, but it's just like, it felt like a kind of high budget anime version of what I would watch in health class.
And I'd rather watch this than that shit in health class.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%.
Because like, this obviously makes like,
because like, I want to see big titty white blood cells with katanas slashing shit.
Because like, there's some cool, like, you know, how they interpret, like, you know, that, you know, red blood cells are like these sort of postal delivery people, and like the white blood cells are like sort of what fights off bacteria. So like these very like violent and equipped warriors, and sort of how they explain out the rest of the cells and sort of functions of the human body. But what it may sort of stumble on, I know people had trouble with this in the first series, is that while it gives you a lot of accurate scientific information, medical information, it kind of just like, but it just kind of throws a lot of medical jargon and terminology at you. While it explains it, it's still just a lot to get.
Yeah, and it's, I think, and granted, this is just the first episode, but the sort of impression I get is they kind of got lost in that and forgot to tell a compelling narrative behind that. Because, like, I don't know. And also, too, I think I find that just the main character kind of irritating, because he's just kind of, like, initially, like, wide-eyed and naive, and it's like, and then once he gets in the real world, it's like, oh, this is shit. Oh, I hate this. It's like, well, no fucking shit. That's how real life works, my man.
Good job, Jonathan. You berated a blood cell who was brand new.
Yeah, what are all the little tiny people delivering blood in your body thinking right now?
I don't know. They're probably thinking the same thing, because I'm unhealthy as shit.
So, but I will say, I think I like this one a little bit more than the first series, because I feel like I kind of like the sort of the extra, I guess, struggles I have to go through, because of just like, you know, having to go through this body person who's not taking care of themselves, and like the extra sort of difficulty that comes in. And plus, I don't know, I kind of thought the idea of like, to me, it felt like it had something neat to say when sort of the younger blood cell sort of has this very rude awakening from, like, he has a very idealized sort of education. He gets into the workforce, and it's very like harsh and bitter, and how it sort of breaks people down. So, like, I don't know, capitalism, how it fucks people over. Am I right, fellas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a reason I had such a visceral reaction is it's a little too real.
It hits a little too close.
And
to
I'm
home.
just like, no.
It's just,
I watch anime to escape, damn it.
yeah, it's just like, if you're feeling bad about your position in life, well, get over it. You can never escape this fate, and so just bury your emotions and just sort of become a monotonous robot until you die.
It did get me thinking. One thing about it is that possibility. This is just coming. It's not really related. But would it be possible for, if it had a mainline story, could one red blood cell travel from the body via like a blood bag and go into another one, continuing the story that way? I was just thinking about that.
I mean,
Like, you know, cells at work, ER, where they have like a blood transfusion. Like, all these people have to like acclimate to this new person's body.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, like, if there's like 100,000 medical procedures, I feel like that's a niche that people really enjoy, and I feel like There's a reason why this is as popular as it is.
Oh yeah, like I mean like for as much as I'm not like a huge fan of it, I really love the premise and like you were saying how they conceptualize how the different cells function in the body. I don't know. I guess just because like found the main character a little irritating, and there's not really characters, more so like. And it's kind of hard to make characters out of a story like this. So
Yeah, because like your body is sort of like these very like segmented portions where like they're not individual, just like this. Everything has a purpose and a position that does that one thing.
yeah, so like I don't know.
I mean, I feel like there's something compelling here, even if we're not like super high on it.
Yeah.
I feel it's not a bad show by any means.
Oh no.
It's just not really our speed, but we definitely feel like this is something worth investigating if this is more where your interest lies.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to our next series, we have Wonder Egg Priority, which debuted Tuesday, January 12th. It's currently streaming on Funimation, and the story begins while on a night walk, a 14-year-old girl named AYCH buries a dead firefly. The insect soon revives and leads her on a journey to find her innermost desire, and it begins with locating a mysterious egg. What do we think of this series?
This is my favorite of all the anime we watched today.
Same.
It's so fun. It's very beautiful. I think it's more beautiful than Jobless Reincarnation. But oh my god, it's so pretty to look at. It's also really emotional as well. Because with the little girl, you can see it's hard for her to make friends at school because she has, is it heterochromia?
Yep, heterochromia.
Heterochromia. She has different colored eyes. And she's just being weird. And, like, I don't know what happened in the story, but her friend killed herself, from what I can tell. And in this dream world that she's going into, she has to do certain things to bring her back. That's the gist of it.
She has to save essentially other people
Yes.
because there was only one episode. Yeah. So at the end of the first episode, whenever we see how exactly she's doing this, she asks because whenever she cracks open the egg, sorry, jumping ahead of myself. She gets an egg, right, and then something tells her you need to crack it open. So she does, and it's a girl. It's another girl her age. I can't remember her name, but she had a name. And then this girl is being hunted down by another girl with axes. Her weapons change, and these creatures called See No Evils, which is pretty good in my opinion, because for what it has to deal with, which is bullying. And her and this girl quickly become friends, and I guess the connection here is that like her friend, this girl, our main character, her friend killed herself for some reason. It had something to do with bullying, and maybe it has something to do with the fact that like she didn't see the signs or something. So like in this case though, she decides to save this new girl, kills the creature entity attacking her, and then this girl disappears, and it's announced to her that, hey, if you do some more, you'll be able to save your friend. And whenever she goes back to do this again, the firefly, she's like, was that girl, did she die? Well, the eggs are representative of other kids who died as well. And she was like, did that girl commit suicide? And the firefly flies off singing, no comment, no comment, no comment.
It's funny because he's saying no comment in English.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty obvious. Like, okay, yeah, they all these kids probably killed themselves, and that's where you get really into the emotional part, because it's like, you know, it deals with bullying, and oh man, that's shit. And this girl has a chance to we don't know exactly what happens when she helps them, but she has a chance to help them, and in the end to help her friend, which is I was really fascinated with this story, with this concept. This is one of my favorites too, just like Colt said. This is probably my favorite. I really loved this, enjoyed this.
Because I will say, echoing what y'all were saying about the animation alone, is like I would say it rivals Jobless Reincarnation in places, and it's like animation quality and fluidity, but it's just really sharp colors, just really fluid animation. Like there's these very like real to life like body movements that happen, and like there's one where after they escape from the evil dolls called the Seed of Evil, the girl that helping her that came from the egg, like she extends her hand in a way I thought was, wow, that was really cool how she did that. And there's a moment where the main girl, she's playing with a multi-ink pen, you know, the old grade school pen with the 4 different colors. Like she's playing with that in her hand. It's like, that is so cool how they did her animation for that hand. Like it looks so real. And the story is very sort of dreamlike and surreal, and it's purposely unclear in places. So we'll say that might be a barrier for entry for people, is that it's not very, it's just kind of like it's purposely mysterious.
Yeah.
To further on the story, but I don't know. I feel really sort of torn with this one because like I love looking at it, I love watching it, but I'm not sure if I'm all the way invested in it. I'm definitely going to see how it pans out. It doesn't have my full attention, but it has my curiosity.
Yeah, I really love the imaginative aspect of it, of how they conceptualized certain things and how surreal it got. I think I'm sort of in the same boat as you. I'm kind of like in the middle between Colt Winslow and you, where like I really like it. I just don't know how invested I am in it to continue, but I don't know.
It was just like you said. It's like it has that dream, surrealism kind of style to it.
Along with like the colors popping off. There's a scene at the end when she goes back into this dream world where she goes upon this beautiful place with this bunch of flowers and these 2 like sack people. They got like scarecrow people that are just chilling, having a little tea party at a table. And
yeah, they're just
that scene right there got me smiling like an idiot because I thought this is absolutely beautiful and I need to see more.
Exactly. That's literally me. I was smiling because I really liked that moment. It was like, hello. It's like, you know, we're just sitting here, chilling. One of them is reading a book. The other one has a cane, and they're having a tea party. And they're like, but you're going to have to wait a second. There's another person in front of you. And, you know, we see there's another person who's probably maybe doing the same thing. I don't know, but they're trying to also save people as well. And that, like, that surrealist quality to it is like something that really attracts me in media or in art. And
the weirder you can get, the more I'm gonna be interested.
Yeah, and like it had a very cinematic feel to it. That's something that we use to describe boogie pop is cinematic. This feels cinematic. It's so pretty. I'm deeply in, like I want to see more of it, but I don't know if I'm emotionally ready for it.
Yeah, this is something I'm gonna need to wait for the episodes to drop. Then I'm gonna watch it all at once, and then cry.
Exactly, like, because I don't know if I can, like, that's why it's been keeping me from going back to Japan Sings, is because I just don't know if I'm ready for it emotionally or mentally.
Just ready for the wall up that the show will give you. Because I definitely could tell, like, this is going to go some places that's not going to be, like, super easy to watch. Because, like, it's already, you know, fairly emotional just from the surface of it. And it kind of, I mean, it may not be a perfect analogy, but like it kind of gave me like some Persona vibes, like in terms of like the, you know, there's like these children dealing with a bigger sort of concept in the world, going through this very like dreamlike, fantastical areas.
Yeah,
and plus like the little fucking doll with the knives, like that seemed like a Persona monster to me.
Yeah. I can totally see that, where it's pretty much is a Shin Megami Tensei type situation, where it's a mirror world, but it's got something fucky going on with it.
And it's just so, I don't know, I just love that. Like, the creatures are called See No Evils, and there's that part in there where there's an announcement on the intercom where it's like, what do you do when you see another student being bullied? You pretend it's not happening, or you don't do anything. And it's like, I think I kind of get what it's putting at, and is definitely, you know, we already said it, bullying, but like, you know, the See No Evils are like pretty much like kind of mimicking that kind of thought or like reaction of like, I don't see what's happening, you know, I'm not looking, so nothing's happening. You know, I don't see evil. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
So I just, even if some of us are maybe a little on the fence, I definitely say this is worth checking out. Just in terms of visuals alone, and like it has like a very, while maybe a bit muddy, an engaging story. Definitely worth investigating. And since I still have my Funimation trial, I'll probably be peeking in on this before I exit it out. And the final series we'll be talking about today is SK8 the Infinity, which premiered Sunday, January 10th. It's currently streaming on Funimation, and it centers around Reiki Kyan, an enthusiastic skateboarder who participates in secret skateboard races filled with dangerous and eccentric characters. What do we think about this final show?
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, like Wenzel. I thought it was pretty fun, but I also thought there's not a lot here that's really keeping me. It's got some fun looking character designs, and their skateboarding, which I am very into. I can't do it, but I think it's fun to watch. But there's really nothing that's keeping me sucked in. I mean, the guy is a snowboarder and he's skateboarding, but I just can't. I just don't know if I'm gonna be able to stick with it.
Well, on a different note, from that's the opposite from Colt, I really like this. Like they said, there's a lot of fun character designs, and at first I was like, okay, this is kind of, I don't know, this is kind of getting exaggerated, silly. But then I was like, that kind of reminds me of like wrestling, having these like personas and characters and stuff. But then I realized this takes place like pretty much in the future, because there's like holograms and AI and stuff, and I was like, oh, like, okay, that's kind of interesting. And then there's just some kind of like this like they said, secret community of skateboarders, and then there's some who knows some kind of power, wealth, or some kind of person who's
the
like
powers that be
above them, like watching this as well, which is like, okay,
It's a modern day Initial D. If it reminds me heavily of I've only seen the first season of Initial D, but the way the mountain race works, it's very similar to the mine race.
Yeah, because they race this community. They're just called S, and they race in like an abandoned mine, which is kind of cool. And like Colt said, there's a character that were introduced. The second main character, he used to be a snowboarder, but he decided, like, I'm gonna skate, which was like really funny. I really enjoyed the humor in this. It was really fun.
Yeah, there's definitely some good little funny bits, because the main character, his name is Longa. He's a half Japanese boy from Canada, and he moves to Japan for school, and like he's just sort of like not like picking up the vibes. Like when he goes and he introduces the class, like the teacher's like, "Hey, tell us about yourself." It's like, "My name's Longa." Like, what else? And it's like, I'm from Canada. Because like the whole bit of Japanese shows, like you tell about yourself at the front of the school, with like when he tries to learn how to skateboard, and it's like he keeps falling down, or when he goes to the big race to skate, like he tapes his feet to the board because he's used to skateboarding like with his feet attached, and then he just like stands still, and he just starts like scooting his way down to the start line.
He scoots with his front hands, or with his hands. It was so good.
Yeah, that elicited an audible laugh.
And I will say, I really did enjoy like how like just almost eye-searingly vibrant this show is. Like, and plus I just love like the people, like the prop makers and the set makers, quote in quotes, for this show. It's like it is just densely detailed.
Oh yeah,
it is a feast for the eyes.
I completely forgot. This takes place on the island of Okinawa. Holy shit! I just remembered that. Real pretty, like Pat said. But I'm remembering that. I'm like, yeah, Okinawa, man. Oh,
so it was like one of their more temperate parts of Japan, which is obviously a big climate shift from Longa, who's used to like the snow flows of Canada. Like it has obviously has a big character. You have like Shadow, the big like Kiss, like
clown person.
Yeah, ICP meets Kiss / skateboarder / fireworks enthusiast, because that's like his little special like power. It's like, I throw fireworks to fuck with my competitors.
Yeah, he kind of reminded me of that clown gang at the beginning of Akira.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of like the Joker gang from Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Just like how like
Yeah.
kind of like freaky and sort of like kind of jarring their costumes look.
The Royal Flush, I think that was what they were called.
Well, there's the clown and there's the Royal Flush. Like there's the Joker's gang, which is like the spinoff of Joker. Then the Royal Flush was like the card-based people.
Oh, okay.
I liked how the AYCH for the episode was just this little tiny vignette of the two boys skating or learning how to skate.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say I thought the intro for the show was pretty good.
Yeah.
I really like the intro, yeah.
And the outro is a good song too, and it's funny because it has like them just like wiping out and crashing. And it has like all these like fancy names for like how they crashed.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was
It was a
pretty
good bit.
I will say like it has my like attention visually, but I'm not sure if I'm hooked though. Like I might give this one some time to cook because like I'm just loving just like how just assaulted I am visually.
Yeah.
But like I feel like it needs something a little bit more. I know this is gonna get like shonen as hell when they're like literally like probably just DBZ clashing in the air with the skateboards and shit. Like I imagine it has a crazy escalation because like there's like this weird like demon half naked clown man that's just like lording over them in the background. Like there's always some weird wacky shit that's gonna happen later on down the line.
Yeah. No, that guy, when he's watching them, because he has a ton of video screens, and it's just all on this one person. And there's a really beautiful scene that's like probably my favorite is when Lenga is flying through the air. Shadow tries to throw him off, but he just messes up, and he throws the fireworks. And the way they explode while he's flying through the air, and in that moment, I can't remember. I think it was the other main character. He says in that moment, it was snowing in Okinawa, and I was like, "Oh my god, that was just gorgeous, beautiful."
It's a very strong anime in terms of its special effects and its visuals. I know going into this season, this was probably the most talked about on my end of Twitter because of all the shows this season, this is what I've seen the most talk going in and coming out of our review. Like this has a lot of people interested, and like. Which I'm really glad this is catching off, even if I'm not quite there yet. But this definitely probably has one of the bigger names to come out of the season so far. And before we wrap up to today, I guess we can just go over like what's our top 2 or 3. What would be your strongest recommendations from the batch that we see? Obviously, we don't watch every single thing. These are just the ones that we pick a handful each season, and we review we review the debuting series. Of course, there's some big name series coming back, like Reincarnation Slime, Dr. Stone, Fire Force. They're all coming back for a second round, but we focus on the debuting shows. And like I said, we wrap up. Let's just go around the horn, talk about what our favorites and what our strongest recommendations. Colt, would you like to start us off?
My favorites in order: Wonder Egg priority number 1, Jobless Reincarnation number 2. And 3 would be Little Spider Isekai. Not my fault I'm a spider. It's my top 3. I'm probably only going to keep up with Jobless Reincarnation and Wonder Egg Priority. Everything else is, besides X-Arm, is okay. I went in really, really wanting, and I expected myself to like skate a lot more. And I'm mad that I don't like it as much as I wanted to, but I'll check out like future episodes, at least the next 2, and if it's not hooking me, that's when I'll give up.
All right, Wenzel?
I have just 3 in order. Third place is SK8 the Infinity. Second place is So I'm a Spider, So What? And first place, Wonder Egg Priority. I really enjoyed Wonder Egg, so I'm going to keep up with it. I'm going to keep up with So I'm the Spider, So What? And, I want to see the other episodes of SK8 the Infinity, because like I said, I did really like the first episode, but I could, because he easily drop off of it. I just have to see where it goes. Everything except for X-Arm was okay.
All right, John?
Yeah, this was probably the most meh batch out of the ones we've done. No particular order would be Wonder Egg, Spider, and SK8 Infinity.
For me, my favorite was Spider. That's probably the one I want to keep up with. That really endeared me. Wonder Egg, it's up there. It's a little weird, but it looks so gorgeous. I definitely want to keep up. And the third one's kind of tough. It's either Jobless or Skate. They're kind of neck and neck for me. My favorite, bar none, was Spider. With the exception of X-Arm, I think all of these are solid and worth looking into. It just kind of just depends on where your interests land. And I think that does it for the Winter 2021 Anime Review. We appreciate all you so much for hanging out, listening in, and just sort of keeping with the show. We hope you enjoyed this one as well. You can follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Spotify, and any RSS feed catcher out there. Please be sure to like, rate, review, subscribe on all those platforms. It helps us out. We appreciate you when you do it and keeps us higher up in the algorithms, those ever-changing algorithms. And you can follow us on our socials, on Twitter and Instagram at AYCH Podcast, Facebook and Letterboxd at All You Can Hear, at Twitch at twitch.tv/All You Can Hear, and YouTube, which is also at All You Can Hear. And lastly, you can follow me, Patrick, on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at John Lost His Name, and my art on Facebook at John Lost His Name Art.
My name is Jonathan. You can follow me on Twitter at JONIIBOI24 and Letterboxd at JohnKnownSon12, and my bussy hurts.
What?
I didn't stutter.
My name's Colt. Follow me on Twitter at ColtD00. Have a good day. Just go out there. In the anime world, don't go outside. Something's happening out there. Just go in the anime world and pretend you are an egg being thrown at a wall.
Ooh, I don't like that.
You don't like being an egg being thrown at a wall? Okay, grow up.
No, because then once I crack open, I have to run away before I get murdered.
Yeah. Grow up.
Get to stepping.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. I'm Wenzel. You can follow me on Twitter at WenzelWilkie. You can follow my art Instagram at World of Wendy. You can go to my link tree to follow my Letterboxd and Goodreads. Yeah, fuck the Puritans.
Oh, yeah.
Boom. Mic drop.
All right. Thank you all so much. We'll be talking to you very soon. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.